Welcome back, friends. Another week has passed, so it's time to talk a bit about another episode of Star Trek, the animated series, this time called Matt's Passion. Last week's episode, Once Upon a Planet, was a sequel to an episode from the live-action Star Trek show called Shore Leave. This week's episode is also a sequel to an episode from the live-action Star Trek from the 1960s. The main antagonist, hardcore Fenton Harry Mudd, was created by the writer Stephen Kendall for the first season episode Mudd's Women, even though his script was written from a story idea by the creator himself, Mr. Gene Roddenberry. This sequel, the second season episode, I Mudd, was also therefore written by Kendall, and in this episode we see that Mudd gets abandoned on the robot planet. Similarly to last week's episode and the Tribble episode, even Mudd should receive his third episode in Star Trek's third season. However, because Roddenberry wasn't the showrunner during the last season anymore, even this story never happened. So even though that the story was never completed, Kendall was brought in to write an animated series episode to conclude Harry Mudd's adventures. We start with the Enterprise arriving to the planet Motherlode after they receive information that he escaped from the robot planet and he's hiding there. And apparently Sulu had a stroke. Or maybe he's in love. Or maybe it's just shitty animation. Anyway, our heroes arrive at the planet to see Harry trying to sell some love crystals to a bunch of heavy metal miners. Funny, they don't look like heavy metal anything, to be honest. And these bear-looking guys look a bit retarded. And oh my god, what have they done to Harry Mudd? He looks like a fat, bald-headed, aging Freddie Mercury crossed with a pig. Kirk and Spock want to arrest him, but Federation laws don't exist on this non-Federation planet, so they can only watch his presentation. The miners want proof that the love potion works, so a beautiful blonde girl comes and claims that she loves him. The miners fall for this, but Spock ruins the fun by pulling his phaser and shooting the girl. And what a surprise! The girl turns into a Regilian hypnoid. First, how did Spock know that the girl is just an illusion? Second, why did he fire his phaser at the creature? Third, the phaser is a weapon which has two settings, stun and kill. So why instead of stunning the creature or killing it, the phaser beam shows its true appearance? Now Harry suddenly doesn't want to get stoned and prefers to get arrested, so Spock drills a hole to the ground around them. Another new usage of a hand phaser. Back on the ship, Harry explains how he escaped from the robot planet and how did he get the love potion crystals. He, as a good observer, notices that Christine tries to hit on Spock, who ignores her, and so he comes with a new plan. He persuades Christine that she should try to use the crystals on Spock. She pretends she's not interested, but takes the crystals away for, well, scientific purposes. She destroys one of the crystals in her hands and falls down for some reason. Harry catches her and steals her ID card and phases her without her noticing it. By the way, as a fat guy myself, I absolutely believe that beautiful women are always grateful when we catch them in our arms after they fall down after being drugged by us. She runs to Spock and falls to his arms, pretending it to be an accident. Spock doesn't react, so she goes angry to Mudd, only to find out that he's gone and her ID card and phaser are missing. Harry used the phaser to get out of the brick and replaced her photo on the ID with his photo, but he didn't change the name, so he's going to pretend that Christine Chapel is an old bald-headed mustachio. He wants to steal a shuttle and get off the ship, but Christine finds him. He offers her more crystals if the one he gave her didn't work, but she decides that shooting him is a much better idea. The crystals fall down to the floor next to the ventilation thingy, thankfully undamaged. But then they suddenly are damaged, and for some reason the liquid inside them starts to evaporate and the gas goes into the ventilation system. Harry taps Christine on the wrist and she falls to his arms again. She must really be into it. But she gets herself kidnapped, or woman-napped. Meanwhile, the love potion starts to work on Spock. He goes to report it to the bridge, where he sees the kidnapping on the monitor. He of course wants to save his beloved Christine. Kirk and McCoy are shocked to find out that Spock is in love, and Kirk decides to beam with him on the planet. As a true friend, he doesn't want to leave him go there alone. Back on the planet, Harry and Christine land between two hills, but oh no, the hills have eyes. On the Enterprise, the crew starts to sniff the stuff from the ventilation shafts, and they start to act weird. Scotty even tries to hit on the humanoid pussy. Not sure if I'm supposed to be disgusted or amused, but Kirk has no time for this. He has to get down. It's not like he's the captain or anything. When they beam down to the planet, Kirk catches Spock, who is falling because his leg gets stuck in something, and this is pretty awkward. But at least I can see where all the gay fan fiction started. But back to the plot, one of the hills wakes up, revealing it to be a rock monster, and after a while the second one wakes up too. And for those of you who love to see Illuminati everywhere, it's worth noting that the main rock monster has a third eye. They all try to face the monster, but it has no effect. They try to get beamed up, but the transporter chief has much better things to do, like dancing with a woman to some elevator music. But Kirk has an idea. Matt gives him the last 2 crystals. He even says that he's giving him his last 2 crystals. Then Kirk throws the 9 crystals to the monster. The monster eats the 3 crystals, and then something happens. Something so great that Kirk gets transparent. Then the creature, I guess, touches him, and it goes to attack the other creature, while our heroes beam out. I think they were trying to imply that the monster ate the crystals and has fallen in love with Kirk, so we decided to help him, but again, it's done so poorly. On the ship, they arrest Matt, who tells them that he loves them very much. I don't really know what I'm supposed to feel. The ending is just weird. Now, this is a weird little episode. I feel like they were trying to do a full comedy, but they were trying to do it in a kid-friendly fashion because of the cartoon format. The Mad episodes always had adult themes. The first episode dealt with basically prostitution. The second one implied that he used the female robots as his sex slaves. But his third one feels like they're really afraid to truly push it. There are some strange things during the whole story. I mean, the premise is that there is such a thing as a love potion. That doesn't really belong to a show like Star Trek, which was always based on science. Love potions are a thing belonging more to a fairy tale. The phaser being used as a magic wand instead of a weapon with a stun mode and a kill mode is also a little problem. I don't like the depiction of Christine Chapel. I am, to use SJW terms, a cis-white male, so according to the logic of some people, I should care only about the white man, right? But I really liked both Uhura and Christine Chapel, and I feel it's a pity how they use them in these episodes. They come across as completely incompetent in the episodes we've seen so far. But no, I don't really care about the cat monster, and just the idea that Scotty would like to have sex with a giant cat is disgusting to me. I am pretty tolerant to other people's sexual preferences, I just don't have to watch it. Speaking of sexual preferences, there is one more thing I have a problem with. Harry says that the crystals cause love between a man and a woman, but only friendship between two men or two women. Oh, we don't want the kids to think that gay people exist, right? This was the perfect opportunity to leave this open to interpretation if they had problems with censorship, but no, they had to explicitly tell us that between people of the same sex there can be only friendship. That's what I call a missed opportunity. Did I have fun watching this episode? Definitely. It has its problems, but which episode doesn't? Harry Mudd is an enjoyable character. I wonder how will they destroy him in Star Trek Discovery. I think it would be fair to me to give this episode 7 out of 10. It's more than a decent ending of Harry Mudd's story arc. But as always, these are just my thoughts. What do you think about this episode? Do you agree with my rating, or would you go much higher or much lower? Feel free to write your opinions down in the comment section. If you like this episode, hit that thumbs up button, and feel free to watch any of the previous episodes of my quick thoughts on a series or any other video on my channel. You should see some playlists right on the screen right now. Thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this, feel free to come back next week when I'll talk about the episode The Terraten Incident. Thanks a lot and see you next time. Bye.